The school hallways were full of laughter and noise, but behind the smiles, something darker was hiding. Every day, a black teacher walked into his classroom knowing that no matter how hard he worked, some parents didn't trust him. Some students disrespected him, and even a few colleagues quietly wished he would fail. It wasn't just about teaching math or history, it was about proving he deserved to stand where he stood. What happened next not only shocked the entire school, but forced everyone to face their own prejudice. This is the story of the one lesson that changed everything. So stay with me until the end. He was new to the town, but not new to the struggle. Mr. Carter, a young black teacher in his early 30s, had always believed that education could change lives. When he accepted a job at a middle school in a quiet suburban community, he thought it would be a fresh start. But from the first week, he felt the weight of something unspoken. The school building looked ordinary: bright walls, polished floors, trophies in glass cases, but beneath the surface was an invisible divide. Most of the teachers had been there for years, and most of them were white. They greeted him politely, yet he often caught the sideways glances, the awkward silences in staff meetings, the way some parents avoided shaking his hand after conferences. In the classroom, things were no easier. Some students listened and respected him, but a handful tested him in ways they never tested other teachers. They questioned his authority, laughed at his instructions, and whispered rumors that spread quickly in the cafeteria. Still, Mr. Carter carried himself with calm strength. He prepared every lesson with care, determined to give his students more than just facts from a textbook. He wanted to give them confidence, vision, and a sense of fairness. But tension grew as the weeks went on. A few parents began to complain that their children were being treated unfairly. Some even asked the principal why he had been hired at all. The whispers became louder, the doubts more obvious. Mr. Carter knew he couldn't simply keep his head down. Something had to be done. But what he was about to do would go far beyond teaching. It would challenge the entire school to look in the mirror. At first, Mr. Carter thought the complaints would fade with time. He believed that if he just kept working hard, showing kindness and teaching with passion, people would eventually see who he truly was. But instead, things only grew worse. One morning, he walked into the teacher's lounge and noticed the conversation stop the moment he entered. Papers shuffled, voices lowered, and eyes turned away. On his desk, he sometimes found anonymous notes criticizing his teaching style. No one said it outright, but he could read between the lines. It wasn't about his teaching, it was about his skin color. The students absorbed this atmosphere too. A few of them began testing his patience daily. They ignored instructions, rolled their eyes, or made subtle remarks they thought he wouldn't notice. One even scribbled on the whiteboard, "Go back, where you came from." The pressure was heavy. By mid-year, rumors spread that parents were pushing the school board to remove him. Some teachers, though silent in public, whispered in private that he wouldn't last long here. Mr. Carter felt the walls closing in. He knew that if he reacted with anger, it would only prove the stereotypes against him. But if he stayed silent, nothing would change. One evening, sitting alone in his classroom after everyone had gone home, he looked at the rows of empty desks and made a decision. If they doubted his right to be here, he would teach them a lesson they would never forget. Not with words of defense, but with an act so powerful it would shake the entire school to its core. The moment of truth was coming, and no one in that school would ever see him the same way again. It happened on a Friday morning. The tension in the school had reached its peak. Parents were scheduled to attend an open classroom day, and Mr. Carter knew the room would be filled not only with curious families, but also with doubters, people waiting for him to slip up. When the parents filed in, the students straightened in their seats. Some whispered, some smirked, and Mr. Carter felt the heavy weight of 100 eyes on him. But instead of beginning with the day's lesson plan, he placed a large box on his desk. Inside the box were simple objects: stones, feathers, coins, and books. One by one, he asked each student to pick something up. Then he gave them a task: to carry it across the room. Some laughed at the simplicity, others rolled their eyes. But as the exercise continued, he began to add more weight. A feather became a stone. A stone became a heavy book. Some students struggled, while others managed easily. When they finished, he asked them a single question: did everyone carry the same weight? The class shook their heads. He paused, scanning the parents in the back, and then said quietly, "That's what life is like for people of color. We walk into the same room as you, but the weight we carry is heavier. And every day we are expected to keep moving, keep smiling, and keep succeeding, while some hope we will stumble." The room fell silent. No one moved, no one whispered. Even the students who had mocked him earlier stared down at their desks, realizing the lesson was not about stones or books. It was about them, about their parents, and about the prejudice they had never questioned. For the first time, the walls of silence cracked. The parents shifted uncomfortably, and some teachers who had come to observe avoided his eyes. The message was impossible to ignore. That day, Mr. Carter did more than teach a classroom. He exposed an entire school to a truth they could no longer deny. The following week, the atmosphere in the school was different. Students whispered less, and when Mr. Carter walked into the classroom, many of them watched him with new eyes. The simple lesson with stones and books had left a mark. Some of the children who once laughed at him now sat quietly, reflecting. A few even approached him after class to say they had never thought about life that way before. Mr. Carter didn't see himself as a hero. He knew racism couldn't be erased with one lesson or even one school year. But he also knew that change often begins with a single spark, and he had lit one. The students who witnessed that lesson would carry it with them, shaping how they treated others in the years to come. And for some, it would be the first time they truly saw the invisible weight their black teacher had carried every day. And that was the impact, forcing people to confront what they had avoided for so long. Because sometimes the most powerful lessons are not about numbers or history dates. They are about humanity, dignity, and the courage to speak truth when silence is easier. So, as you finish this story, ask yourself, if one teacher's lesson could shake an entire school, what lesson are you willing to learn or teach to change the world around you? If you've experienced or witnessed the same, share your story in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so together we can spread the message further.